So, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the INTUNE podcast. And today I have a local friend, Marcel van Geest, joining me from Amsterdam. We met last summer on a conscious nature walk and instantly connected, had good vibes because, as both being coaches and really resonating on so many topics. And I've invited him today because we're really going to touch on the topic of healthy masculinity and how this is really impacting lots of men in our society, but also how in general to keep your body healthy and to really dive into his journey that he's on at the moment, which is super exciting. So Marcel, thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing?
Yes, thank you, Ashley, for inviting me. Thank you.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Yeah, I mean, where do we even start? I would think it's really good to start with your journey and a little bit about how you got here, not necessarily to the point of when we met on that walk, but just, who are you? How did you get to where you are today in your life and your healing journey?
There are a lot of questions. Marcel van der Geest, started 32 years on this planet ago, and since I was a kid, I grew up in a family who, emotional. It wasn't stable, and so I learned numb my feelings, my emotions, and I really don't want to express myself because it wasn't safe for me. So I grew up, and when I was older, and I'm working and going to the gym and all the things, just to be not at home or not feeling the feelings. Certainly, I wasn't home at myself and my body. So I just, when I get older, and I was like drinking and had a lot of addiction, like drinking, working, going to the gym, and I was really addicted to a lot of things. And I had some breakups, and after the breakups, I thought something's not making me happy. I need to change something, and that's where the journey begins. The journey inwards, and therefore, it was 28. Was like the journey outwards, and the journey inwards is much more inspiring, I guess. So let's talk about that.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I can also, even as a woman, resonate a lot with your story of like really spending most of my young adulthood working, chasing this like outside dream, whether it's like how you look, the job you have, the money you have, like where you live, like all of this stuff that at the end of the day is like not fulfilling because it's kind of filling this gap of an empty inside. And we see this everywhere in society of like depression rising, anxiety rising, and no one really knowing like how to cure this. And the answer is always very obvious. It's go inside.
Yeah,
And like you say, like if you're looking for this home outside of you, but it is inside. So that kind of sentence struck me that you just said, like, what does it actually mean for you to be at home inside yourself?
I got a lot of things, and I'm still love to sport, and my company is sporting. So I really like to go in my body with music, dancing salsa or surfing, being in the water, just lay in the water and surfing and go with the waves, and yeah, just go with the flow. And oh, that's amazing. All those things help me to come in my body and to feel what I need to feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was really harsh getting aware of the things I was numbing. And for the first 28 years I was like a car salesman, going to the gym every day and drinking beer, and like the typical masculine man here in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel the fulfillment of selling cars or selling anything. So I thought, let's quit my job and start healing and start looking inside. What do I really want? Where do I want to go? What's Marcel? What's this planet? What's my purpose? All
Mm-hmm.
these questions. And oh yeah, I love it when I talk about it because it gives me so much energy that I'm looking for the I'm not looking, I'm not searching, but I'm just expiring. I don't know what kind of word I can connect with that, but yeah, I'm really connecting with my body and
Hmm.
what what feels good and what resonates with me, instead
Yeah.
of just other people think that this should be Marcel, so just do that for other people. No, this is Marcel and I want to do this for Marcel.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it feels like such a big wound of the world that we're so disconnected from our body. Like even
Yeah,
as a young child, you could be around family members and they're like, "Oh, give me a hug goodbye," and you're like, "Oh, I don't want to," but they're like, "No, go hug your auntie." Like it's rude not to, but you're
yeah,
like, if your whole body is telling you one thing, and then society or your family or the rules are like, "No, you must go against your body's instinct," and
yeah,
it's the same with the emotions. So I'm obviously trained in emotional release and breath work, and we are often, when we feel emotions, we often suppress them because it's like, let's say the core emotions, joy, sadness, fear, anger. If
yeah,
you experience any of those, oftentimes it's not acceptable to really express it in its fullest
yeah,
way. Even when you're really joyful as a child, your parents could
exactly.
be like, "Stop being so annoying." Like, yeah, calm down. Like, why are you being so joyful? And then you learn like, oh, okay, my natural instinct to be really happy is not acceptable in these environments.
Yeah,
If you feel then sometimes you need to cry, and like especially as a boy you're told like don't cry, and
exactly.
this is something then like it gets stored in us, it gets stored in your body, it gets stored as like life force energy being suppressed. And whether this shows in like physical illnesses, ailments, mental depression, etc., or just in general this feeling of like not fully being alive. And yeah, burnout also comes from that.
Yeah,
You mentioned that like you grew up in a family where like the emotions were really not allowed or expressed.
yeah.
So is there a time in your life when you really, when this switch flicked, when you like really started to experience emotions?
When I was 17, I was like on a motorbike, and I had an accident, and I was like 2 weeks in a hospital, and I was really bad. It was, yeah, broken every bone on the left side of my body, and it was really uh, flipping. My mind was flipping, but I couldn't understand what's happening. I don't know, but I didn't know because I wasn't aware of what's possible, but with your feelings. And after that, it was like searching and searching, and I didn't feel right in my body, didn't feel right in the family, or where I was, and was always thinking, what about the future, or the past, and wasn't present at all. And after like 10 years, I was thinking, oh no, this is not gonna, it's not gonna work like this. And I was like, another breakup with my girlfriend, like a relationship for 3 years. It was like, oh, now I need to change, now I need to feel. And I was like crying for 3 weeks in a row, and writing down and everything to just, and that was my wake up call. And it was like, now I need to do something, otherwise it's gonna be the same and the same and the same over years. So I'm glad that happens. I'm
Yeah.
really grateful for that moment, that I was looking, and I'm still grateful every day for that moment, that I'm looking inside, looking inwards, because it's helping me so much. And it's really that I'm on my purpose, like I'm on my path to where I want to go, and where I am right now. I love it. And
Yeah.
I love when I'm not feeling good, and that's a really difference between
Yeah.
the last time.
It's such a shift. I remember saying like I'm crying, but I love it now. Like I used to like hate crying. So like this feels bad, but no emotion is in quote unquote bad or good. It's just like how you put a perspective on it. And
Yeah,
it's like I've heard so many stories of people who have like near death experiences or severe accidents or traumas that often is the kind of wake up call. But sometimes I wish it didn't have to come to that for people
yeah,
to wake to themselves and to really like feel their emotions.
yeah,
So I'm kind of curious if somebody is like hearing that story and they're like, okay, like I also grew up in a family like that, and maybe I've had these few moments where like I feel like I want to cry or I feel emotions, whether it was like a really sad moment in life or things that like they're sensing that it's coming, but they're in a family where it's not safe, they're in an environment where they don't feel they have the space to cry or to really tap into this, what are some of the first steps that someone could take to get closer to feeling?
Go talk with someone, or if that's too scary or that's not the right thing for you, just write down, just
Mm-hmm.
write the right questions for you. It's all inside. Just ask yourself and write, and go and stop write and don't stop writing.
Yeah, I love that. Journaling is such a powerful embodiment practice, actually. When we think of embodiment, we think of dancing and moving, but the
Yeah,
form of your hand writing out the words, you are transforming your conscious thoughts and feelings onto something physical in front of you. Can be very intense sometimes, journaling and shadow work on
yeah, exactly.
writing.
Or just walking in nature, or just go in the sea, or find a hobby where you're getting your energy
Mm-hmm.
released, or when you get in your body. For me, it was like salsa dancing, or surfing, or
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
boxing. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, for anyone who's listening who hasn't heard of the context of like masculine and feminine energy, obviously this is something that's regardless of your gender, it's a way of expressing energy within you. There's one that's a giving energy and one that's a receiving.
yeah,
And the masculine is most of society, we live in that, where it's like the doing, the planning, scheduling, the achieving, the working, the hustling, the girl bossing, whatever you want to call it. And then
yeah,
it's like the feminine energy, which is often rest, doing nothing, being present, being in nature, moving, connecting, nurturing yourself or others. This is something that oh, we don't have time for. And then people wonder why we get burnt out. Like that's how my burnout happened. Like I think I worked out I was like 5% of my week in my feminine energy and the rest was in my masculine as a woman. And
well,
it's
this
like,
really resonates with me, because when you tell it like that, and it's like, oh, now my life look more in balance with masculine and feminine energy, and that's
yeah,
so important.
yeah. Nature is like one of the first entry points for that. Like you say, that's why when you say walking, it resonates hugely. Just
Yeah,
like going out walking, but without headphones or without music, and actually
exactly.
like thinking and looking at the stars and looking at the sky. Like that's really the like beginner steps into connecting with
Exactly.
you and nature.
We are so busy at the moment. There's so many things going, impulsive things going in your head, and yeah, try to keep that as low as possible without a phone or just anything.
And do you
Walking.
have any clients that, I mean, people must say this to you all the time, like, I'm too busy for this. Like, I've also been there, even like in the freelancer world, I've got wrapped up in like cycles of a few weeks where like my agenda is like 6 days a week and it's busy and you're working, and going here, there, and everywhere. And I don't even have children yet. So it's like, I can also imagine that when people have kids, it's like a whole nother element of like organizing. So what if someone says to you, like, I don't feel like I have the time? Like, how can they kind of approach that kind of mindset?
I don't think it's time. It's a priority. Where you choose, it's all about where do you want to go, and if you and love the steps you're going, or you love the steps, every step you take. So it's really important to know where you want to go, and make the choices that's on that goal, that on that level. So if you want to do more meditation, don't start Netflix. Netflix is killing the time for you. This is the self-care time is really important. So yeah,
Yeah, and that's always the difficult part because it's like sometimes the Netflix is an addiction because it's like keeping you sedated almost because it's like comfortable, easy. And I find that when I was in this process, like logically, you know that meditation helps. Like your mind knows it, but there's certain steps transitioning to then embodying and actually doing it. And
yeah,
sometimes that journey can be like months. It could even take years for someone to actually implement that habit that they decide to choose for themselves. But
yeah.
yeah, like these addictions are super strong, even just like using Instagram or going on social media, like smoking, drinking. This is all,
Yeah.
yeah, they're very strong.
For example, like, 2 years ago, a lady, an author, asked in a group. She asked, what is self-care for you? Going inwards, and I was really thinking about that, but not that particular question. And when I was thinking, it was like, self-care is doing everything that higher your frequency. And I think this is in tune with INTUNE.
Mm-hmm.
um, and I was like going to the gym 5 or 6 times a week, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm always tired because my body needs to recover from this. And I was thinking, oh really, Marcel, why the goal was to get a lot of energy. It wasn't in the line of what I'm going to the gym for. So I wanted to go for more energy, but
Mm-hmm.
when I was like 6 times a week in the gym, it was always recovering. My body was always tired.
Yeah. So you were saying about things that can raise your vibration, and obviously things like Netflix, going on your phone, they tend to lower your frequency or your vibration. But if somebody is kind of new to this and new to these kind of words, which, yeah, I know a lot of people are, how can someone tell if something is raising their frequency or not? It may sound like a beginner question, but I think it's always good to go to the basics.
First of all, I think you need to listen to your body, to feel, to make some time to just feel if it resonates or not, if it's higher your frequency or not. And you need to have some patience. You can't learn it in 5 minutes. It's just 5 years or 10 years maybe. It's not easy.
I mean, I would say if something is raising my frequency or vibration, it's like I get this sense of lightness. Like there is an element of it is raising. Like if I come away from an activity, and sometimes I also do this mindset work when I've come away from a place or from a person or from like meeting a friend, or yeah, like if I've been in a certain location, and it's like, does this place give you or drain you? Does this person give you
Exactly.
or
Yeah.
drain you? Like,
Yeah.
do you come away feeling alive or do you need to go and recover?
Yeah.
So it's like I love sometimes to scroll on Instagram and find reels because it's like I love to be creative, but most of the time after doing that for like 45 minutes, I feel like deflated a bit. Whereas
Yeah.
then if you go and do something like meditate for 45 minutes, you come away from that like feeling bigger,
Yeah.
feeling like lighter. So yeah, it is like it's literally a physical sensation normally that you can tune into, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, I mean, there's a beautiful exercise that we do in emotional release where sometimes we call it noticing. And it's like when you're trying to tap into your what's going on, because emotions are sometimes so hard to put a word to. And I'm also what you'd call a slow feeler. So I don't instantly know what the emotion is. It's like I'm like, oh, okay, what do I notice? I notice like a weird feeling in my throat, or like I notice like a sinking feeling in my stomach. And for a lot of people, I think that's like the perfect entry into noticing what is going on. It's like, what sensations do you feel? Do you feel like heat? Do you feel cold? Do you feel like a bit nervous or a little bit like jittery? And then that kind of, it's like a practice that like develops onwards to, oh, okay, this jitteriness feels a little bit like I'm nervous. Maybe I'm nervous in this situation right now. Why
Yeah.
have I been nervous before? Like, what is this linked to? And then it's like slowly this like story unravels. It's, yeah, really like a beginner
The
step.
mind is also a muscle, so it's training the mind, and the body is also a muscle. So you're training your body. So why don't you train your mind, right? And body,
Exactly.
mind, and soul.
Yeah.
It's all connected. So it's just developing some experience.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you said, the tapping into your body is just, you have to start somewhere, no matter how
Yeah.
small.
Yeah. Exactly. You have to be present at the time, and just be aware what's happening and be patient.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
Don't
something we
rush.
don't have. In modern society, patience. People want everything yesterday.
Yeah, that's the main thing about the biggest problem. We all want things to happen yesterday. It's
Hmm.
not possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone wants to Amazon Prime their healing.
Yeah. It's all about constructing habits, or yeah, just just build on it. That's the easiest way, I guess. Just when you wake up, just put on your sheets on your bed, and then it's okay. That's the first thing you accomplished today. So maybe a meditation. That's the second thing today. So maybe brushing your teeth. That's the third thing. Then when you're starting like this, the domino will fall. If you just creating habits like that, it would be it's lovely to start your day with like 4 or 5 habits. That's
Yeah, they like set
accomplishment.
your foundation for the day.
Yeah, yeah, that's setting foundation for the
I
day.
always found that like whilst having, like you say, 4 or 5, and then also being like not masculine strict with yourself. So if there is a day when you need to stay in bed because you're like you need to rest, and it's also okay. Because I remember being like, oh my god, I haven't scheduled in my meditation for the day, like I'm not going to get the healing from the meditation. And you're like, brain, that's not the
That's my
purpose of
process as
it.
well.
Exactly, yeah. It's such a like unlearning, even with like learning all of these tools and all of these ways of like connecting more with yourself. It's also the shadow of like achievement within that sphere as well. So
Yeah, and I think the funny quote of a Buddhistic monk is like the first 30 years is like learning things, and the second 30 years is like unlearning things. So
unlearning, I love that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think I even said that this morning to somebody. I was like, my mission is to help people unlearn. That's it, like just unlearn everything we got taught, because it's all a bit not
yeah,
natural and connected to us. So
yeah. Because I think we're the first 7 years, we're the purest version of yourself, and I guess that's the most beautiful time of everybody's being.
yeah, yeah. It's the time of like pure expression when you're a child and a young child at that age. Like you're just a pure vessel for source, as they say. It's like
Yeah,
anything that comes through, if it's like ideas, thoughts, emotions, like everything is at its like purest. And I feel most of our adult life, we're just trying to return to that state. Like we just
yeah.
want to return to like that time of being a child, when people forget like that inner child is inside you even as an adult. Like we don't have to be structured adults like we are. We just choose to be.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, you mentioned the words habit, and this is maybe a nice segue onto the company that you also work for, Habfit,
Yeah.
which is, I guess, well, you can tell us a bit more, but linking together, like you say, like the body, the soul, the mind, in terms of general well-being. And it's also for you, I think, following a bit more of your purpose and passion. So do you want to tell us a little bit about like how long you've been working there and what it's bringing you at the moment for your life?
Yeah, I worked for Habfit. It's an online sport company, online sport platform where we coach people to healthy habits. That's why it's called Habfit.
Mm-hmm.
And the company is like 3 or 4 years old now, and I'm working now for 1 year, and I'm co-founder as well. And we want to coach people to create healthy habits, and just by online classes, interactive video with the coach on your screen, and it's really low on effort. And yeah, it's really, I love working for Habfit because it's really show people that the world is beautiful by sporting, to see how much energy you can have only by creating healthy habits, only by creating habfits, how we call it. So just create habfits is just the one, or the first or the second step for getting more inwards, feeling your body and moving with your body. And you can
Yeah.
do it all kind of ways, like yoga or pilates or strength workouts or hit workouts. Everything is possible, just to connect more and see how beautiful the world is.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because I mean, I've come from many different environments, like university, from working, and even now when I go and like work in different companies and do workshops, and I just see like the level of like, I read the statistic, it was like if you do sport more than 3 times a week, you're in like the 12% of the population. And
Yeah,
that blew my mind. I was like, only 3 times? Like, that's not a lot.
no,
That's like a bad week for me to not move my body 3 times of the 7
yeah,
days.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, it's like, for a lot of people, it's like either the timing thing or there's not the accessibility. So I love that what you do is also online, because
Yeah.
also the pandemic really brought this up in the world where like you can sport from home. You don't actually have to use the excuse of going for a class. Like you can do it just before you make your breakfast or something. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The World Health Organization says you need to sport like 2 times intensive and like 2.5 hours just walking or bicycle. Yeah, Amsterdam is cycling, but so it is not that much, but 12% is not, is nothing. I don't know. Oh,
Okay.
how is it possible? So that's our mission to um, to raise the awareness of that's only 12%. That's so important to just sport and move and do things not only for your body but just for your energy, just for your mind, just for your soul. Everything is
Yeah.
connected. So
I mean, it, like you say, it's this priority also I find with the working world, that if the priority focus is always still on the making money aspect at any
exactly.
cost, at
Yeah.
12 hours behind your desk, working 6 days a week, then of course the priority is not going to be on moving your body. And like, even, yeah, okay, you can have a standing desk, or even better, like if every company could give people treadmill desks, the world would be a much healthier place, because you'd be
Yeah.
walking and working at the same time. Like, they're even quite
Yeah.
easy to do. You just need like a little treadmill mat that you can just walk on.
Yeah. It's getting more and more, but not that much. We invited. We have some resistance belts, and we're just hanging on the coffee machine. So everybody's, when they're working like 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours in a row on a desk and like sitting and doing like this, and oh wait, my energy is low. Let's get some coffee. No, just use your resistance bands and just flow your energy back in your body instead of sitting all day like this. Yeah.
Yeah, even you speaking, like I want to like stretch my neck out now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I also
Exactly.
notice I've had like 3 hours now behind the desk, and it's, yeah, like our neck and everything just like holds all of this tension, and like our hamstrings,
Yeah.
glutes, like this part of your body where actually we store a lot of our emotions also in like our hip areas. And no
Yeah.
wonder, because we're also sat down all day.
Yeah, but it's normal. It's easier to just hang in your bones, and just when you're like sitting upright, the energy flows better. Yeah,
Exactly.
I could talk hours about that, but
Yeah, and they say that like sitting is almost as unhealthy as smoking. I love that you have the resistance band with you if you're looking at the video. It's like always to hand.
always when you're sitting like this, and it's like, oh, it's really nice. Just
And do you have any other kind of like mini movements or exercises people could do if they're like at their desk that are
yeah,
good and quick and easy to do?
stretching or doing like, yeah, there's so many.
And
Just
anything
do
not
it
with
at,
a band?
with the band, or with, yeah, you can do without the band, like,
Yeah,
or
like
just,
stretching it out like a wing, or like you're
yeah,
doing like chicken wings almost, like stretching the back out, the shoulders.
yeah,
That's the thing. I'd say also like just rolling your neck like a few
yeah.
times an hour slowly.
Or or just 2 elbows on the kitchen and then feel your
Oh,
neck.
yeah. Even better if you're close with your coworkers, get them to crack your back for you.
Even better.
That might be people will be like, oh, okay, we're really close now. Okay, so I'm a little bit curious to hear a bit more about since you've been going on this journey, you've also started coaching, and I guess also sharing a lot of these tools with other people, which I also resonate with. This is kind of the path that I've taken also now with the podcast, and just wanting to give people as much opportunity to hear about different ways of doing things. So kind of when did you start doing your coaching, and yeah, what kind of people were you attracting or at least helping with your guidance?
It started like a few years ago when I was really into the habits. I was thinking, oh, like when it's 40 to 50% of what you're doing today in a day is like it's a habit. So let's change some habits. Let's check how can I change some habits. And I was starting with 30 days habits, like 30 days of meditation in a row, and or 30 days without alcohol. It's just a dry January. Now it's like 5 months already, or 4 months already, or just eating no meat, or I was just starting with the little small habits, and I was checking, is it helping me or isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I was sharing a lot of content about that, and I was like, oh cool, that's what I want to do it as well, and cool, how do you do that? And i was I was really getting energy of the questions people were asking me, and then I was like, oh, this feels really good. It really gives me energy and resonates with me. So why should I do more with that? And then I was thinking, oh, I want to be coach. And it was like a year or year and a half, and it was like, oh yeah, this is why I started to be a car salesman when I was 16. So I was want to help people
Mm-hmm.
thinking, solving problems, and ah, that really resonates. And now I want to coach people instead of selling cars, or it wasn't fulfilling anymore. So coaching people is now really nice. I really like to look where the problem what's the problem, and where do you want to go, and what kind of habits do you need, and what kind of habits you don't need, you want to unlearn.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, that's the most of people are just searching for the right habits, or and that's really cool.
Yeah.
The habits to go inwards instead of the habits you have for the outside world. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the most important thing. Just start a little bit connecting with your body and your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Beautiful. And is there any kind of particular person that keeps coming to you for work, or like what are the main struggles that they're going through at the moment?
especially work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
really really trendy at the moment. So everybody's struggling with working. Is it working? Is it life? Is it what do I want to do? What am I? Who am I? What do I want to, yeah, what's my goal in life, and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some big existential crisis questions as well. And I mean, I also know from my own experience that when this came up for the first time in my life, a coach was the exact person that I needed, because
Yeah,
they're the ones who can see your blind spots. They can ask you the very good questions that get your
yeah,
brain thinking in a slightly different way. And also somebody
exactly.
to kind of hold you accountable for,
Yeah,
yeah, these habits that you're forming, whether it's your mind or physical ones as well. Yeah.
yeah, it's all starting with awareness, and how do you create awareness? It's by asking the right questions.
Exactly.
Yeah, it sounds simple, but it isn't.
Well, yeah, of course, like our mind like instantly blocks those questions from even like appearing, because we don't want to
Yeah,
ask ourselves the difficult questions. That's why we're stuck in habits and loops and the
yeah,
conditioning. For some reason, I still feel like the topic of you being a man who has come through this process of tuning back into himself, like there's something still here that feels like wants to be touched on anymore. Are there any other tools or like experiences that you've gone through that have also helped with this journey more? Like what kind of, is there any like books you've recommended or podcasts or like modalities that have worked particularly well for you?
I will recommend the book from Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. It was
Mm-hmm.
really opening my eyes from, whoa, I was always thinking about the past or the future, and whoa, that was really eye-opening. Like, whoa, it is just focus on now. Just, and how do you focus on now? Just connecting with your breath, or just connecting with your body, or it is just, yeah, I wouldn't say it's simple, but it's really where your attention is, yeah, the energy flows.
Yeah, beautiful. And is there any podcasts, anything that you've really listened to that have like moved you or helped with your journey?
Yeah, the podcast or the satsangs of Moji is really low, easy to follow.
Mm.
He's pointing out the on an easy way to look inside, and it's,
Mm-hmm.
I love that guy.
I feel like I also want to add that breath work is also a very very accessible way into tapping into emotions, whether it's the Wim Hof that you can find on YouTube, or going to a class, or even just sitting in your bed and doing connected breathing yourself. It's also a brilliant game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Wim Hof really inspired me as well with a 30 days ice bath challenge. I was like every day in the channels of Amsterdam when it's like freezing 15 degrees.
Yep. Super good for your body.
Yeah, good for your body, but more for your mind.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Well, okay, I'm curious if people are listening and they're like, I really like Marcel. I like his vibe. I really resonate deeply with his story and like where he's at in his life. Are you working with people just in person, or are you also working with people online? How can people work with you?
Yeah, just connect with me on Instagram or just send me a text or an email. It's all possible. Marcel van der Geest, just look for it on Instagram, and then we can connect and just
perfect.
go.
I will also add all of your socials onto the bio as well, so people can find you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and do you work in Dutch and English as well?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, I just want to thank you again for coming on. This, I feel like we touched on a lot of topics that were like hugely relevant for both of us. Yeah, is there anything else that you want to, that's alive for you want to share before we wrap up?
Just have a little patience.
I love that. Don't Amazon Prime your healing.
That's a nice way to close up.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you so much again. We are going ice bathing in the Amsterdam canals very shortly. It's not going to be that cold anymore, but we're doing a breathwork ice bath.
Give me a call.
I will.
Yeah, cool.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. Bye.